Incredible moment. Single father helps a stranger daughter. 7. Reveals a life-changing wish. Austin stood at the bus stop, the cold air biting through his thin jacket. He blinked away exhaustion, preparing for another long night at the warehouse after his day at the diner. His heart swelled with love as he thought of Lily, whose laughter always warmed their modest apartment. It was a tough life, but they had each other, and that made all the difference. His musings were interrupted as he noticed Charlie, an elderly veteran, struggling with several heavy shopping bags. The sight sent a wave of memories crashing over him: his childhood, his own father's struggle to keep food on the table. Helplessness tinged with nostalgia washed over him, prompting Austin to step forward. "Here, let me help you with that," he offered, taking the weight of the bags from Charlie's frail hands. As they walked, Charlie shared tales of his service, recounting wild stories mixed with the sad truth of his current ordeal. He was facing eviction after years of dedication to his country. Austin's chest tightened at the thought. How quickly life could turn upside down, he thought, humbled by Charlie's courage and spirit. The old man's weary eyes held untold stories of sacrifice and heartache, and Austin felt a tug at his heartstrings, his compassion turning into a swell of empathy. Lily's bright face illuminated in the distance as she hopped from one foot to the other, excitement radiating from her. She leaned in closer to her father, wanting to get a better idea of the discussion. Just as Austin started to drift off into thought, Lily whispered, "Daddy, can we help him have a warm meal and a safe place to stay?" Her innocent sincerity struck him like a thunderclap, filling him with both pride and fear. Their financial situation was tight, yet here was his daughter, wanting to reach out and help. Could they afford to help Charlie? Austin took a moment to weigh the options, battling between the overwhelming reality of their own struggles and the flicker of hope ignited by Lily's plea. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As days passed, the weight of their decision weighed heavy on Austin's shoulders. The eviction notice loomed in his mind like a dark cloud. Despite the uncertainty, Lily's compassion fueled an unwavering determination in him. Their small apartment felt even smaller with the pressure mounting around them, but her belief in helping Charlie sparked a fire of resolve inside. When a community dinner came to mind as a way to help, it felt overwhelmingly ambitious yet fulfilling. Austin's heart raced with fear about risking everything he had. Nonetheless, it was time to embrace community, love, and hard work. And just as they began to gather others around them to make a difference, a new complication emerged, leaving Austin's heart pounding. What if they couldn't pull it off? Would they suffer for trying? As the night of the dinner approached, doubt clawed at Austin's mind. Would compassion prevail, or would his efforts lead to heartbreak for both his daughter and Charlie? The answer became less clear by the day, leaving Austin with a heavy question. Could they make a real impact against the odds, or were they stepping into a storm that could drag them down? He held his breath, seeing uncertainty ripple in the air around them, heart racing for what lay ahead. With the sun setting on the day of the community dinner, Austin gathered his thoughts as he stood in their cramped kitchen. The table was adorned with a mismatched spread of donated food, pasta, bread, and a bubbling pot of stew he'd managed to whip up by raiding the back of their pantry. It wasn't much, but he hoped it would be enough to offer a warm meal to those in need. Lily bounced around excitedly, her small hands helping to set the table. "Daddy, will Charlie like the stew?" she asked, her eyes wide with anticipation. Austin smiled, trying to push away the knots of worry churning in his stomach. "I think he will, sweetie. It's always nice to share a good meal." The doorbell echoed through the apartment, causing Austin to tense. He glanced at Lily, whose eyes sparkled with curiosity. This was the moment they had been preparing for. They were stepping out of their own struggles to make a difference, and no matter how small, it felt monumental. "Can you get the door, honey?" he asked, his voice steadier than he felt. Lily dashed to the door, throwing it open with a flourish. A small cluster of neighbors, faces lit with smiles, stood with baskets of food and bags of supplies. "Surprise!" they exclaimed, the warmth of their camaraderie washing over Austin. Relieved, he found himself grinning, swept into the moment as they set to work. Laughter and chatter filled the air. Austin watched Lily mingle with the other children, her giggles harmonizing with the neighbors' voices. This was not just a dinner. It was a blossoming community. For the first time in a while, hope intertwined with their struggles, giving them a spark that felt almost tangible. Charlie arrived a little later than everyone else, stepping into their lively kitchen with a shy smile. The weight of his own burdens seemed to lift briefly as they welcomed him. "You're just in time for a taste of my famous stew," Austin said, gesturing to the pot on the stove. Charlie chuckled. "I'm always up for a warm meal, especially if it's cooked with love." As the night progressed, laughter filled the space, blending together like a rich tapestry of voices that told stories of resilience and community. As they all scattered to serve the food, Austin caught Charlie's eye. They exchanged silent acknowledgments of gratitude, two men from different worlds brought together by the shared desire to help. During a lull in the evening, Lily stood atop a chair, her small voice rising above the crowd. "Thank you, everyone, for being here. I wanted to help Charlie have a nice meal and a safe place, and I think we did it." Her enthusiasm ignited applause and cheers, but Austin couldn't shake the unease gnawing in his heart. What if this moment of togetherness was just a fleeting high? Would tomorrow bring the same comfort? As he watched Charlie, whom he admired more than he could express, leaning into the warmth of the gathering, a thought struck him. Just then, a stranger walked into the space, eyes scanning the room with a mix of confusion and intrigue. Behind him trailed another unexpected figure, and the crowd began to whisper. Austin's heart thrummed in his chest as they approached. Who were they? What did their arrival mean? In that moment, with each eye in the room locked onto the newcomers, the air narrowed with possibility. The night was in a precarious balance, and everything was about to change. The tension in the air was palpable. The newcomers, a man and a woman, wore expressions that mirrored the wonder and uncertainty filling the crowded kitchen. Austin instinctively stepped closer to Lily, protective yet curious. "Can we help you?" Austin asked, his voice ringing slightly above the low hum of conversation. The man, tall with dark hair flecked with gray, took a step forward. "Sorry to intrude. We heard there was a gathering and thought we could join. I'm Mark, and this is my sister, Kate." He gestured to the woman beside him, who had a warm smile but a hint of apprehension in her eyes. Lily's curiosity melted the icy reception some others might have held. "Hi, I'm Lily. Do you want some stew?" She beamed up at them, her innocence breaking through the hesitation. "Absolutely," Kate said, kneeling to Lily's height, her smile widening. "That sounds perfect." As they settled into the chaos of the dinner, Austin found himself watching the two siblings with a mix of intrigue and wariness. There was something about them like they were carrying hidden burdens. Mark seemed friendly enough, engaging easily with the laughter and chatter around him, but Austin noted the slight furrow in his brow. The atmosphere lightened as plates filled, stories shared, and old wounds were hinted at through laughter. However, amid this warmth, Austin couldn't shake the feeling that the newcomers weren't just there for the food. "Are you new to the neighborhood?" Charlie asked, leaning against the doorframe, arms crossed. His gaze was careful, assessing. Mark nodded, taking a sip of water. "We just moved into the apartments up the street. Thought we would meet the neighbors." His voice carried a genuine tone, yet it felt layered, as if he was searching for something more than just friendly faces. At that moment, Lily tugged at Austin's sleeve, her wide eyes focused on the siblings. "Daddy, can we invite them to sit with us?" Austin hesitated, glancing around the room. Everyone was absorbed in their own conversations. "Sure, honey," he finally replied, signaling for Mark and Kate to join them at the table. As they sat, the evening progressed, a backdrop of stories weaving their lives together. Laughter bubbled up and spilled over, but Austin sensed an undertone of something unspoken. Kate took a deep breath, glancing at her brother before speaking. The truth is, we heard about this community dinner from a friend. We've been struggling to find a place that felt like home. Mark chimed in, his voice soft but firm. We lost our parents a while back, and their dream was always to build a community. When we came across this neighborhood, it felt right, somehow. Even Lily sensed the weight of their words. I know how that feels, she said earnestly, her childlike wisdom striking all the adults at the table. We had to work really hard to make friends, but this dinner helped. Everyone is nice. Tears glistened in Kate's eyes, and for a moment, the room held its breath. The world beyond their gathering faded away. Here was a connection, a deep-rooted understanding of struggle, loss, and hope. In that instant, Austin felt the walls around his heart crack just a little. Could this community dinner be the beginning of something? Could they really help each other heal? And then Lily broke the silence again, her voice filled with an innocent but ambitious eagerness. I wish we could do something really special together, like a party. Austin could hardly suppress a smile, but at the edge of his excitement lingered a question. Could they truly create something lasting out of a single dinner? Just then, a loud crash echoed from the kitchen, followed by laughter that escalated into a joyful uproar. All heads turned. Looks like someone needs help, Mark said with a laugh, breaking the building tension. As they all moved to investigate, a fresh wave of urgency filled the room with a new sense of adventure. Amidst the chaos, Austin felt a flicker of hope that spread through his chest. What would this beautiful chaos bring next? And how far could their little community stretch beyond this one night? As laughter echoed from the kitchen, a sense of warmth wrapped around the group. Lily led the way, darting ahead with her small frame, the promise of laughter pulling everyone towards the gathering. Austin felt the flutter of anxiety in his stomach, but also a curiosity. Maybe this was the spark they needed, a catalyst for something bigger. Inside the kitchen, a moment of chaos greeted them. A pot had slipped off the stove, sending a vibrant splash of stew across the floor. Charlie and a couple of other neighbors were busy cleaning up the mess, but their faces radiated sheer joy rather than frustration. It was infectious. The laughter mingling with the faint aroma of simmering tomatoes and spices made Austin's heart swell. Whoa, you guys really know how to throw a party, Mark exclaimed, grabbing a mop from Charlie and joining in the cleanup. Kate followed suit, her laughter intermingling with the others, a welcome sound that felt like sunshine breaking through clouds. Not the first time we've had a slip-up, Charlie said, chuckling as he waved away the concern. It's all good, just adds character to the dinner. Right, folks? He shot a grin around the room, rather than feeling embarrassed or irritated. Mark's cheerful banter created an instant connection among the neighbors. Lily looked up at Austin, her eyes sparkling with excitement. See, Daddy? Everyone's friendly. The initial uncertainty melted away, replaced by a sense of belonging that felt as thick and comforting as the stew itself. Austin's heart ached just a bit, thinking about how long it had taken them to feel truly welcome. Maybe, with Mark and Kate in their lives, it could be different this time. Once the kitchen was spruced up, someone suggested breaking out the games. We could use a little competition, Charlie suggested, and a cheer rang out in agreement. They set up a table and gathered around, laughter dominating the air as they divided into teams. Lily was eager to team up with Mark and Kate. Let us show them, she yelled, pumping her fist into the air, her energy contagious. Watching those three together, Austin felt a surge of hope again, a flicker that maybe this little family could grow bigger as the games unfolded. Mark and Kate's story emerged, small details, nuggets of their past slipping into conversation. They shared laughs about mistaken identities and awkward encounters with neighbors, weaving their tale into the fabric of the night. Each tidbit revealed a little more of their journey, as if they were taking off layers of vulnerability, letting the group see the real them. And there was something so heartwarming about it. Austin observed Lily giggling with Kate, while Mark and Charlie battled it out over a board game. The connection deepened, forging ties that felt substantial yet light, almost like threads woven intricately together. By the time dinner was served, there was an unspoken bond in the room that hadn't been there before. Sitting together, sharing food, laughter, and stories, it felt like they were part of a patchwork quilt made of lives intertwined. Just then, during a lull in the conversation, Mark leaned forward with a flicker of excitement in his eyes. He began, "We've been thinking about that party idea Lily mentioned. How about we really do it? A block party to welcome ourselves and you all too?" The suggestion hung in the air, full of promise. Austin's heart raced at the thought, could a simple idea bring them even closer? He caught Lily's eye, the same spark of adventure in her gaze mirroring his own. Could this be the moment where they transcended mere neighbors to something more? And what would it take to turn this intimate gathering into an unforgettable tradition? As laughter resumed and discussion swirled, Austin felt the thrill of possibility tinged with uncertainty. The night felt electric, and the thought of a block party opened a door to a future filled with laughter, connection, and healing. What would they create together? Would it truly bring everyone closer together in the end? The conversations around the table picked up again, each person trying to unpack the implications of the block party idea. Austin could feel the thrill in the air, that beautiful tension of hope stretching out before them, waiting to be filled with laughter and connection. Lily was bouncing in her seat. "Can we have games? Like a giant jump rope? And maybe a cakewalk?" She animatedly gestured, her face alight with dreams, picturing the community bursting from their homes, eager to partake in the festivities. Mark nodded, his enthusiasm infectious. "Absolutely. We can set up booths, have a bake-off, maybe a little concert. I bet we could get some local musicians to come and play. It would be amazing." Austin let himself imagine it, a wide street adorned with string lights, the sound of music swirling in the air, children laughing and playing together. It was everything he had wanted for Lily and more. But with the flutter of excitement came a twinge of fear, the fear of crashing expectations, of maybe failing to bring this vibrant dream to life. He took a breath, trying to steady himself. "Count me in for cleanup duty," Charlie chimed in, as he stacked empty plates, a broad grin on his face. "We can make it a real neighborhood affair. It'll be good for all of us." As they debated ideas, Kate chimed in, "We could make this a monthly thing. If we create a schedule, we could keep the gatherings going. Think about it, movie nights, potlucks, game nights, it could be a way for all of us to stay connected." Austin felt the warmth of community wash over him, each voice adding layers to a dream he never knew he needed until this moment. They would create memories together, inside jokes, shared meals, and laughter that echoed long after the party was over. As they tossed suggestions back and forth, the worries he carried faded just a little. Maybe this could be what they needed, a true sense of community after feeling isolated for so long. Maybe this could be the start of something incredible. "All right then," Mark said, "let us make a plan. We can meet next week to finalize details, pick a date, and get everyone involved. Sound good?" Nods and shouts of agreement echoed through the room, filling Austin with a glowing sense of belonging. He glanced at Lily, who wore an exaggerated, hopeful grin. She squeezed his hand, her small fingers wrapping around his. In that moment, he saw it, the picture of happiness he had yearned for. Just then, an unexpected knock echoed from the front door, pulling their attention away from the excitement swirling in the kitchen. Whispers of curiosity filled the room. Austin exchanged puzzled looks with the others. Who could be visiting unannounced at this hour? Lily, always the brave one, hopped off her chair. "I'll get it," she exclaimed, moving toward the door with an eagerness that made Austin chuckle. As she pulled the door open, a figure stepped into the warm glow of the kitchen, light, a woman, standing there with uncertainty in her eyes. A small girl clutched her hand, nervously peering around the doorway. The warmth inside felt like a stark contrast to the chill outside, but it was Lily's next words that sent a ripple of tension through the room. "Hi, we're having a party. Do you want to join us?" Austin felt his heart skip. What would unfold from this unexpected visit? Would it deepen their growing community or perhaps complicate things in ways he hadn't anticipated? He held his breath, waiting for the stranger to respond. Would this be the moment that could change everything again? Austin watched as the woman's face softened, a flicker of hesitation replaced by a tentative smile. "Oh, really? Party?" she asked, glancing down at the girl who stood shyly beside her, her brown curls bouncing with every nervous fidget. "Yeah. A block party. We're having games and music," Lily chimed in, her excitement radiating throughout the room. The woman took a step into the warm kitchen, her brow relaxing as she saw the jovial crowd. "I'm Sophie, and this is my daughter, Emma." She bent down slightly, encouraging the small girl to step forward. Emma peeked at Lily, her round eyes wide with curiosity. "Do you like cake?" Lily exclaimed, her energy contagious. Emma's face broke into a shy grin. "I love cake. Okay, you have to come. We can have the biggest cake ever," Lily declared, bouncing on her toes. Sophie shared a quick glance with Austin, who could see the uncertainty still lingering in her eyes. "It sounds lovely, but I'm not sure if we can stay," she started hesitantly. The struggle between wanting to belong and holding back echoed between them. "Why not?" Mark spoke up, sensing the moment's shift. "We'd love to have you join us, really. It'll be fun." Sophie hesitated, struggling with her thoughts. Austin could feel the weight of her hesitation. He understood that longing to protect yourself from the unknown. It was easier to stay on the sidelines to keep everything familiar. But then he thought of the very community they were hoping to build. The door was opening, and it felt wrong to let it close. "Please, you can have cake, and then we can play games together," Lily urged, her heart in the right place, wanting to expand their family circle to include more. Sophie gave a small laugh, the tension in her shoulders easing a bit. "Okay, just for a little while. I think Emma would like that." Lily beamed and reached for Emma's hand. "Come on. Let us get some treats." She pulled the girl away from her mother and into the kitchen where the snacks were laid out like a feast. The sound of giggles erupted as the two girls clambered for the cookies. Austin watched as Sophie stepped further into the house, her posture relaxing as she absorbed the laughter and warmth. He gestured to an empty chair beside him. "Can I get you something to drink?" "Just water, please," she replied, her voice softer now. It felt like a small step into comfort. He filled a glass, handing it to her as she settled into the space. "It's nice to meet new neighbors," he said, trying to ease into the conversation. "It's nice to be here," she replied, her gaze drifting toward the girls who were now deep in laughter. "Emma has been a bit shy. We just moved here a month ago, and it's been tough for her to meet friends." Austin nodded, understanding. "Can be hard starting over. My daughter had a rough time when we arrived too." Their eyes met, and for a fleeting moment, Austin felt a connection form not just as parents, but as creators of a community they both craved. The laughter swirled around them, filling the space with hope and expectancy. Maybe new friendships could blossom from this simple encounter. But as Sophie opened her mouth to speak again, her face suddenly shifted. Austin could see the weight on her shoulders return like a shadow. I don't know if we'll stay," she murmured, glancing down at Emma, who was now climbing the furniture in a game of make-believe. Austin felt the stirrings of worry settle in his gut. What was it that held her back? What was stopping them from truly connecting and feeling at home here? He realized he was suddenly faced with a choice. Push gently and explore what kept her guarded, or let it go for now. "Maybe we can help with that," he offered, a quiet determination in his voice. Before Sophie could respond, Lily called out, "Mom, can we have ice cream, please?" As Austin's mind raced beyond that moment, he couldn't shake the nagging feeling that his heart was entwined in something bigger than a block party, something that could reshape their paths forever. What secrets lay hidden behind her guarded smile? Would Austin uncover the truth that could either bind them together or leave them drifting apart? Sophie's expression darkened, a flicker of uncertainty crossing her face once again. Austin could see the shift in her demeanor, an internal battle waging within. Emma continued to play, unaware of the weighty conversation happening just a few feet away. "Hey, how about we enjoy some ice cream together?" he suggested, hoping to lighten the mood. The thought of cold, sweet treats seemed to spark a flicker of joy within Sophie. She offered a small smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. Lily jumped up and down, her enthusiasm infectious. "Ice cream! It's the best!" she shouted, and soon she had a small band of children rallying behind her enthusiasm. Austin stood, motioning for Sophie to follow. "Come on, it's the least we can do to sweeten the deal." Reluctantly, Sophie rose. "Okay," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. As they moved toward the kitchen, noise erupted behind them. A cheerful commotion of kids flooded the space, grabbing bowls and spoons, every little action infused with laughter. Austin felt a thrill run through him. This was a community he wanted to be part of. He shared a glance with Sophie. It was more than just a party. It was about connection, extending hands to one another. Once inside the kitchen, he opened the freezer, revealing colorful tubs of ice cream. Sophie lingered, her brow furrowing slightly as she observed the chaos around them. "This seems fun," she said, though the words came out with a hint of hesitation. Austin scooped generous portions into bowls, glancing back to see Emma nestled into a corner, laughing as Lily shared a cookie. "It is," he assured. "Watching our kids create memories is what it's all about." Sophie's gaze shifted to her daughter. "Emma's always loved trying new things, but, well, I've held her back." The confession slipped out, almost like a whisper of regret. Austin sensed she was sharing more than just passing words. "Sometimes we distance ourselves out of fear of the unknown," he said softly, setting her bowl on the counter. "It's okay to take a step into the light." Sophie blinked back unshed tears. "It's just I'm scared. We've moved so many times before and it's hard." "Well, you don't have to do it alone," he replied, feeling a swell of empathy for the struggles she was clearly carrying. "Starting fresh can be daunting, but it's also exciting. New friends can make a world of difference, you know?" She hesitated, her fingers tracing the rim of the bowl. "I want to believe that," she said, her voice quivering slightly as she looked up at him. Austin added, "What if you gave it a try? Just for a little while, let your guard down?" Sophie's eyes studied his face, searching for sincerity amidst the laughter echoing around them. Silence hung in the air, heavy with hesitation and possibility. In that moment, Emma burst in, her face smeared with chocolate. "Mom, this is the best day ever. Can we come back tomorrow?" Sophia's heart melted at Emma's joy, and a tiny spark ignited in her eyes. "Maybe, sweetheart, maybe we can." A flicker of hope bloomed in Austin's chest. Perhaps there was a path forward. As bowls emptied and laughter filled the air anew, he cautiously tested the waters. "Is there something, Sophie, that you feel would make it easier for you? A way to help you settle in?" But before she could answer, the sound of shattering glass erupted through the room. Everyone froze. A collective gasp echoed, and in that instant, all eyes turned towards the source of chaos. Emma stood, wide-eyed, amidst a sea of ice cream and broken bowl shards scattered across the floor. Austin rushed forward, heart pounding. What had just happened? The joy moments away felt so far now. Would this be the moment that turned it all around or set them back yet again? Austin's mind raced as he knelt beside Emma, who stood trembling, the evidence of her excitement now a messy battlefield on the tiled floor. He could feel the heat rising in his cheeks, but he pushed it down. "It's okay, Em," he assured gently, brushing a few chocolate smudges away from her cheek. "Accidents happen." But Sophie wasn't so quick to reassure. He could see her face drop into an expression of panic. "Emma, are you all right?" she exclaimed, rushing to her daughter's side. Her maternal instinct kicked in, and Austin admired how fiercely Sophie protected Emma, even in a moment of chaos. "I'm fine, Mom. I just wanted ice cream." Emma's voice cracked, a small pout forming as she surveyed the ruined treat. Tears began to well up in her eyes, and Austin felt a pang of sympathy. "Let us clean this up, and then we can make some more ice cream, okay? With sprinkles?" he suggested, moving to gather the pieces of the broken bowl. Sophie hovered close, visibly shaken. "I'm so sorry, I should have been watching her." Her voice trailed off, laced with guilt. Austin paused, looking directly into her eyes. "You can't be everywhere at once. You're doing your best." "Yeah, Mom. Let us be happy," Emma added, her small voice filled with girlhood innocence. Austin's right, Sophie replied, tightening her grip on Emma's shoulder. Let us see if we can salvage this. As they began cleaning, the tension in the air started to dissipate. Laughter bubbled from the other room, and soon Lily peeked around the corner, curiosity written all over her face. Is everything okay in there? Just a little ice cream disaster. Nothing the three of us can't handle, Austin called back, forcing a smile. He watched as Sophie breathed a little easier, the weight on her shoulders lifting. Sophia's hands moved with purpose as they cleared away the shards of glass. I can't believe I let this happen, she muttered, more to herself than anyone else. Stop worrying so much, Austin replied gently. These things happen. Just think of this as another story for when the kids are older. Sophie managed a faint smile. I guess there'll be plenty of stories with Emma around. As they finished picking up the last of the pieces, Austin felt a shift within Sophie. She looked at him, a spark of determination in her eyes. You're right. It's just a moment. Exactly, he replied, feeling a deep sense of connection. All we can do is keep moving forward. Emma laughed and twirled around them, her energy infectious as she picked up a spoon and declared, Ice cream part 2. Just as they shared a laugh, a wave of joy swept through the room. For that moment, the earlier tension faded away. It began to feel like a family, a connection forming through the spilled sweets and broken bowls. Suddenly, Sophie turned serious again. Austin, how do you keep moving forward? I feel so stuck. He hesitated, searching for the right words. It's about finding people who lift you up, even in messy times. You have to be willing to try. But just as he finished, Emma tugged on his sleeve. Austin, can we go outside? It's nice. I want to show you something. Sophie looked at them, her brow furrowed once more with uncertainty. Maybe we should clean up first. No. Emma interrupted, her urgency palpable. Please. Something amazing is out there. Austin exchanged a glance with Sophie. There was something bright in Emma's eyes, a hint of adventure. Okay, let us go see, he said, not fully knowing what lay ahead. As they stepped outside, the setting sun painted the sky in hues of orange and pink. Emma bounded ahead, nearly bursting with excitement. But as Sophie lingered behind, Austin turned to her and asked, What are you hoping for? Sophie? She opened her mouth to reply, but then hesitated, her thoughts tangled in the possibility of change. It's just she finally began, before being interrupted by Emma's jubilant cry from beyond the garden gate. What is it, Emma? Sophie called out, her voice laced with apprehension. It's magic, Emma exclaimed. At that moment, Austin couldn't help but wonder what kind of magic awaited them, and if it could lead to the differences Sophie was afraid to embrace. Would they step through this door together? Emma dashed past the garden gate, her laughter ringing out like music in the crisp evening air. Austin could hardly keep up with her, but he was determined to see what had captured her imagination. Sophie followed closely, her face a canvas of worry mixed with curiosity. What's magical, Em? Austin shouted, eager to catch a glimpse of whatever had ignited his daughter's excitement as they crossed into the neighboring yard. The sight that greeted them made their hearts race. A small garden, beautifully lit by a series of twinkling fairy lights, transformed the ordinary into something extraordinary. The air was filled with the soft scent of blooming flowers and freshly cut grass. Emma stood entranced, her eyes wide and sparkling. Look, she gestured wildly, pointing to an archway entwined with vibrant vines, a hidden passage that led into a secret world. Can we go in? Can we, please? Austin shared a glance with Sophie. There was a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes, yet also a gleam of wonder. Are you sure it's safe? She asked, sounding like the protective mother she was. It looks amazing. Just imagine what's in there. Emma pleaded, a mischievous smile lighting her face. With a deep breath, Sophie relented. Okay, but just a quick peek. As they stepped tentatively towards the archway, a magical hush fell over the garden. Sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting enchanting shadows on the ground. Austin felt a wave of warmth wash over him, as if they had crossed into a dream where everything was possible. What is it about this place? Sophie murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. filled with awe. It's like stepping into a movie, Austin replied, the thrill of adventure coursing through him. He could see Emma bouncing ahead, her laughter floating back to them like the sweetest song. Inside the garden, colorful butterflies flitted nearby, and Emma darted from one flower to the next, her delight palpable. But as they wandered deeper, Austin noticed Sophie slowly drifting into silence. Her expression changed, contemplative. This is beautiful, she said, but the weight on her heart didn't seem to lift. Austin, her voice dropped to a serious note. What if we don't belong here? What if I can't ever be good enough for you or for her? Sometimes we have to let go of what we think we know, he replied, stepping closer. You're doing great. This is about us together. We figure it out as we go. In that moment, under the glowing lights and among the flowers, Sophie looked up at him. Something flickered in her eyes, an ache mixed with hope. Do you really believe that? I do. He reached out, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. Magic is about believing in the possibilities. We can choose to step into it or we can stay stuck where we are. Emma scampered back, interrupting their moment, her cheeks flushed with excitement. You two are missing it. Come on. She grabbed their hands and pulled them deeper into the garden as they followed her. They stumbled upon a small fountain at the center. Water danced in the air, illuminated by the sweeping twilight glow. Starry lights mirrored above, and for a brief heartbeat, they all felt the enchantment of being together in a sacred space. Make a wish, Emma exclaimed, plopping her coins into the fountain. She turned, looking at Austin and Sophie with a seriousness only a child could possess. You have to wish really hard. Sophie watched Emma, her gaze lingering on the little girl, who held all their hopes. The tension in her shoulders began to ease, yet uncertainty still lingered in her heart. What will we wish for? Austin asked softly, knowing this was a pivotal moment. Emma grinned, her joy filling the air. For magic, of course, and for our family to be happy. He locked eyes with Sophie and felt the gravity of the moment. Could they truly embrace the future that was beckoning them? As they stood together, ready to make that wish, the question loomed: what would it take for Sophie to let go of her fears and believe in the magic of what could be? As they all clasped hands, Emma's excitement rippling through the night air, Austin could hardly believe how far they'd come. Glowing fairy lights peeked out from the vines, casting soft shadows, and the fountain's gentle trickle felt like the heartbeat of something beautiful, something not yet defined, still waiting to unfold. Okay, let us make our wishes, Emma declared, her voice full of childhood wonder. They dipped their fingers into their pockets, finding the coins they would toss into the water, each moment tinged with anticipation and hope. Austin felt a twinge of trepidation as he looked at Sophie, her face illuminated in the dim light. He saw vulnerability, a flicker of fear hidden behind her bravery. Would she be able to let go of whatever kept them rooted in uncertainty? Just let yourself believe, he whispered, squeezing her hand gently. Sophie met his gaze, a spark of courage flickering within her. Then Emma, bursting with cheer, tossed her coin first. For all of us to be friends forever. The splash echoed, and the water shimmered as if responding to her wish. One by one, they let their coins soar into the fountain. Each coin seemed transformative, a way to etch their desires into the universe. Sophie's coin glinted as it departed her palm, her wish transparent in her eyes. Austin witnessed her hesitation melt away in the night air, just as the initial weight of their burdens began to lift. For smiles and laughter, and for Emma to feel at home, she whispered aloud, her heart exposed. Now it was Austin's turn. He took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of their joined hands. For love and connection, and for us to grace these moments together, he murmured, his voice steady with conviction. And just like that, they felt a pulse of unity surround them, three souls tethered together through dreams and hopes that had just been set free. Emma clapped her hands. Let us dance. The joyous suggestion flew through the air, and before anyone could question it, the small girl whirled around, pulling them both into her merry twirl. Laughter spilled from their lips as the spirit of connection wrapped around them like a warm blanket as they danced. The worries faded. Out of nowhere, the twinkling fairy lights seemed to brighten, and Emma's laughter floated up with the stars. After a while, they all collapsed onto the soft grass, breathless and giddy. The night felt transformative, the worries of their past ebbing away into the dark. Sophie laughed, truly laughed, as she turned towards Austin, her eyes shining bright. "Thank you for tonight. I can feel it, the change." He smiled back. "You're already stepping into it, Sophie. Just remember, it's a journey we're all on together." They could see the fire of hope igniting in her gaze, and for the first time, it felt like stepping into a warm embrace rather than a loaded expectation. As they glanced at each other, it reaffirmed an undeniable promise: their little community was forming strong roots, intertwined by shared experiences, understanding, and compassion. It felt like family, and the magic of this moment hummed beneath the surface of their hearts. "Can we come here every week?" Emma bounced on her knees, her eyes begging for adventure. "Absolutely," Austin replied with conviction. "We can create a home for ourselves everywhere we go." As they gathered their things and began to head back, Sophie held Emma's hand tightly, her smile more confident than ever. In that fleeting moment, all fears began to dissolve. "Let us start planning the block party," Sophie announced, her voice filled with newfound determination. "We could invite everyone. Make it a true welcome for everyone in the neighborhood." "Amazing!" Austin cheered, excitement filling his chest. "And we can have games, food, a feast of love, just like tonight." His voice rose with enthusiasm as they began to visualize the party. In that moment, it wasn't about the worries they carried. It was about the strength they had built together. Laughter rang as they set off down the pathway under the stars, the promise of connection glowing brightly. Ahead, Austin could sense a bond weaving through the air, an unspoken understanding that they were not just neighbors but a family rooted in hopes, dreams, and the power of resilience. "I can't wait to tell Charlie about this," Emma exclaimed, her spirits soaring. "Neither can I," Austin added, joy swelling in his heart. With every step they took back towards home, the thrill of possibilities surged like magic, echoing the wishes that now danced in their hearts, guiding them into the beautiful unknown ahead. Together, they stepped forward into a brighter tomorrow, hand in hand, ready to embrace every single moment. Because now, the magic wasn't just about what they wished for. It was about the love that had blossomed, a community forged through hope and kindness. Remember, you need to subscribe now to catch the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support with a like. Leave a comment about your favorite part of the ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation unfold. Your support means the world.